Okay, there we go. Hey everyone, welcome to day 12 of Math 133. Can everybody see my screen okay? So today we're going to talk about the cumulative review number 3. That cumulative review is going to cover chapter 1 through 5, also do the 6.2 lecture notes. So try to get those done before tomorrow if you can, but they're due on Thursday. Um, so we're coming up on the midterm. I sent out a email as well as a remind with two things. The first is a link to a survey. It's one question, so it's super quick. That survey is just asking, uh, where are you taking the exam? And so if you haven't filled that out yet, please go do that. Um, and the other is this document here, the Math 133 Proctoring Midterm Exam Instructions. So lots of information here about the midterm. So I'm going to go through it real quick. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, please do. I dropped it, a link to it in the chat. But you can either take the exam with me on Zoom or you can take it at the testing center. So on Zoom, it's Thursday, the 16th, October 16th. You can do it from 9 to noon or 6 to 9 p.m. Okay. So 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., 9 a.m. to noon. Okay. That's the morning one. So um, for the testing center, you can take it on the 14th, 15th, 16th, or 17th. We do not have class on October 14th, but I have verified with the testing center that they are open. Okay. So if you want to take it on Tuesday, October 14th, you can. Um, so you can take your laptop to the testing center, but you may not use your phone there. Okay. They have lockers where you can put your phone. Okay. So for the midterm, it's going to be um, s- if you're taking it at the testing center, they'll have it printed out for you, and you'll be able to, uh, you know, write all your answers down on the paper and then turn it into them there. Okay. Um, for those of you who are taking it with me on Zoom, uh, once I see that you are all ready to go, I will be sending an email to you. Um, so make sure your JCC email is working. I'll be able to send that email to you with the PDF or the link to the exam. It'll be a Google document, and you'll be able to print it out. Okay. If you don't have a printer that works, that's okay. You can leave the exam up on your screen and write your answers on a blank piece of paper. So you'll write number one, answer x equals 2, blah, 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 blah. Okay, number 2, and so on. Okay. Um, so the exam covers chapters 1 through 6. The best way to study is doing the sample midterm. We started the sample midterm last time. The sample midterm exam is a worksheet that is worth points. It's on page 424 in your course pack. And we're going to do a little bit more of it today, and we'll do a little more next week, sorry, on Thursday. But we might not be able to cover the entire thing. Elaine's going to cover a lot of it in her class. But even so, if we don't cover the whole thing, you are still expected to turn it in. Um, but like I said, it's one of the best ways to study. If I just show you all the answers, that's great. But also you want to be able to practice, right? Because if you watch every NBA game ever, does that make you good at basketball? No, you have to practice on your own. And so the sample midterm is a good way to practice. Okay.
And Cindy and I have
Uh,
all day Monday and Wednesday for that.
Correct.
So,
So they have a lot of time set aside for it. Usually we only have one day set aside, but this year, since we're doing it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have Mondays and Wednesdays. So they have both days next week. So, um, okay. Uh, let's see. So on the exam, on the midterm, you can bring your yellow exam notes packet, which starts on page 253. You can bring that with you to the exam. Um, you can also have one sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, front and back, with whatever you want written on there. Okay. Um, that let's see. So those are so that's it. So you're not allowed to have your phone. You're not allowed to have, different websites up. The only websites that you can have up on your screen should be the exam itself, StatCrunch, and Desmos. Desmos is the calculator that we've been using. Okay. Um, so show all your work. Remember that I am not grading your answer. There are times where you might get the answer wrong, but if you understood the question and you understood what you were supposed to do, you sometimes will get full credit for it. On the other hand, if you only write the answer down and you write the number, and I don't see how you got that. If that number is wrong, you're going to get 0 points on it. Okay. So on the other hand, if you show like, okay, here's the numerator, here's the denominator, and here's the result, and I see, oh, well, you had the numerator right. You just, flipped two numbers in the denominator, just a small mistake. You might get full credit. Okay. Or you might get partial credit. So so there's all that. So for those of you taking it with me on Zoom, I need to be able to see your screen and I need to be able to see you. So here's an example of a picture where I can see the person taking the test and I can see their screen so that I know that they're not getting onto ChatGPT or some other site that they're not supposed to be on. I can see that you are not using your phone to look things up. Okay. So if I cannot see you and I cannot see the screen, then I will not be able to send you the test. Okay. Um, so this is one option. If you set up your phone on like a stand where I can see, that works. Some people, what they'll do is they might have a webcam, so they'll join Zoom twice, once on the computer so I can see you, and then once on your phone and point your phone at the screen. That works. Okay. Here's another example of where someone I can see their screen and I can see you. I don't have to see your face. I just have to see that you are not getting on your phone. You're not, you know, asking someone for help. Okay. But anyway, so if you want to buy a phone stand, there is a link here to one. If you want to buy an external webcam, there's a link here for that. Or you could take it to the testing center, and then you don't have to buy anything. So, um, let's see. Uh, so when you finish your test, you need to let me know. So you can either put that in the chat, or you can reply to an email. So if you are taking the test with me on Zoom, uh, you have 5 minutes from the time that you finish to go and scan it with your phone, just like a normal worksheet, right? It's going to be on paper. So you're going to scan it into Canvas. So I'll show you where that is. So over here, day 15, right here at the midterm, you would come here and you would upload it just like any other worksheet. Okay. But it needs to be done within 5 minutes of finishing the exam, so they know you are not continuing to work on it even after the time is up. Okay. Okay. So if you have any problems during the exam, you can either reach out on the Zoom chat or through Mind. So there's that. Yeah. So. That's the midterm. Okay. All right. For today, though, we are going to be working on the cumulative review worksheet number 3, and that starts on page 420 in your course pack. If you click on it in Canvas, there's a link that will take you to that list of all the different data sets. Scrolling down to the cumulative review, there is a StatCrunch, but I will drop that in the chat for you as well so that you don't have to go hunting for it. So click on that and make sure you sign in. And on page 420, we have cumulative review worksheet number 3. So question number 1. This is the data that's actually in StatCrunch in the link that I just dropped in the chat. Um, these data represent the number of medals won in the 2024 Paris Olympics from a random sample of the countries that won medals. Okay. So maybe Switzerland won 1 medal and maybe, the US won 19, you know, there you go. Um, so first question, we are asked to find all these different things. So X bar is the sample mean, how many numbers are in our sample, standard deviation, all these different things. So you'll find how to do that on page 254. We have 3 methods. So on page 254, which method should we be using for this? Method 1, 2, or 3? That's for you guys. What method should we use here? Page 254, method, which one? Yep, Andrew got it. Method 1. And that is because we have the raw data here. We have 1 column of numbers. Okay. If you have 1 column of numbers, then you're going to be using method 1. Method 2 is for frequency distribution, and that one you'll have multiple columns of numbers. And same thing for method 3, which we haven't talked about yet, but method 3, you'll have multiple columns of numbers. Okay. Um, Next, so for discrete and continuous, in this class, we have defined continuous as if you can use decimals or not. Okay. That's not mathematically exact. So, if you're talking about dollars and cents, that is technically discrete, even though you can use decimals. So, on test day, if there is a question like that and you get it wrong because you're going by the mathematical definition, I'll still grade you as correct on that. Okay. Interpret quartile 1 in the context of the situation. You'll find that on page 253 at the bottom, there is a script for interpreting the kth percentile, and quartile 1 is the 25th percentile. So in this case, K would be 25, and you'd write 25% of the observations, and you write out what those are. So in this case, medals won by countries are less than or equal to, and then you write out the value that you find for Q1. Peru won 1 medal. Calculate Peru's z-score. So z-score, there's a formula for that on page 253, also at the bottom, and it's z equals, you take the value minus the mean, and you divide by the standard deviation. Okay. So there's parentheses around the numerator, and you'll need the parentheses if you're going to type that into the Desmos calculator. Okay. So the value in this case is 1. The mean you have to find, and the standard deviation you have to find as well. But then you get the z-score. Was Peru unusual? So the definition for unusual is going to depend on whether you are looking at z-scores or probabilities. For probabilities, it's if the value is less than 5%, okay? But we're not here. We're looking at z-scores. So you'll remember that a z-score of two standard deviations from the mean, makes up 95% of our data. So 95% of the data is close to the mean. 5% of the data is far away from the mean, more than 2 or less than -2. Okay. We consider those unusual. Okay. Uh, Unusual outliers, those are kind of interchangeable, but all right. Page 421. We have a linear regression here. Major League Baseball posts all of its data for the players, their at bats and their hits. So the explanatory variable is the x axis, explanatory, x, okay? So it's either the variable that you can control or sometimes it's time, okay? But the response variable is the y's, okay? Okay. Uh, all right. So all of this information for correlations, linear regression, that's all on page 255. So there is a number line that you can use compared, looking at the correlation coefficient to tell whether it's moderate or strong. Page 255, you'll also find a interpretation of the mean. Okay. If x goes up by 1 unit, then y is expected to increase or decrease by slope units, right? Um, yeah, so there's all that. And then part 3 is the chapter 5 stuff. So probability. The following table shows the type of health insurance and the race slash ethnicity for a random group of people in the US. So explain why researchers cannot conduct a design study to obtain these data. So there's different types of studies. There are experiments, there are surveys, there's simulations. In this case, this is an observational study. Observational is where you can't change anything. You just record the data that already exists. So in this case, you record the person's race and you record what health insurance they have. Okay. A designed experiment would be something that you can control, where you would have, some people will be taking the old version of the drug, some people take the new version of the drug, and you compare which one performs better. Okay. You can control that. You can't control someone's race, right? You can assign, all right, we're gonna give you the old drug, we're gonna give you the new drug, and we're gonna see which one does better. You can assign that. You can choose people to do one or the other. You can't choose someone's race, okay? Similarly, you can't force someone to choose a particular type of insurance, okay? You can't say, all right, you're going to be on Medicaid and you're going to be on military. Well, no, you can't even qualify for military if you're not in the military, okay? People choose their own insurance. It's not ethical for you to force people into a different type of insurance. So you cannot assign someone's race, and it's not ethical to assign insurance, right? Right. If I wanted to build a designed experiment, I would randomly assign, you know, if I was testing two drugs, I'm going to randomly assign who gets the new drug, who gets the old one. Okay. I can't randomly assign you insurance. Okay. All right. Um, da, 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 da. Is it unusual to be uninsured in the US? So in this case, we're using probability. So unusual for probability is probability of the event is less than 5%. Okay. So you're going to calculate probability of being uninsured and then check if it's 5% or less. All right. Page 423, continuing on with insurance versus race. So we're going to calculate probability for these. Probability is the number of wanted outcomes divided by the total. So they're on non-group insurance. So you want to see that number. So non-group is 1016. That's your numerator. And then the denominator is the total. Okay. Um, and you just find where they overlap. So find the black column, find the Medicare column, or Medicare, sorry, black row, Medicare column, find where they overlap. That's easy enough. Okay. Or on the other hand, is the tricky one. Okay. Bottom page 254 is the formula for OR. Probability of E or F, you take the probability of E, the probability of F, and you subtract where they uh, overlap. Okay. Now, if they are disjoint, you don't need to subtract where they overlap because that's just zero. Okay. So you kind of have to figure out if it's disjoint or not. And actually, that is the next question for part O, were they disjoint or not? Okay. Um, I know it says circle the best choice. You can circle one if you want, but usually for these, we're going to talk about disjoint and not disjoint, and then we'll talk about independent or dependent. So we'll probably circle two things. Okay. Um, okay. So this one is at the bottom of page 254, and what you'll need to do for this is find probability of. Oh wait, well, yeah, I'll deal with that one. Yeah. Here's another one. Here's another or. Okay. So pay attention to whether they are disjoint or not, because it's going to change how you calculate those. Um, okay. And then down here, at least one, that's also at the bottom of page 254. There's a formula for at least one. Okay. All right. So let's jump back to the start.